Every revolution in computing has been built on the simple idea 0 or 1, on or off, yes or no. But what happens when reality itself refuses to play by those rules? Welcome back to the Open Source Rethink. I'm your host, Dren, and today we're going to take a look at the technology that promises to take our computing to its next revolution. Imagine a computer where information exists in many states at once, where two particles across the universe can move as one, and where problems that would take today's fastest machines millennia could collapse into seconds. This isn't science fiction, it's quantum computing, a technology that promises breakthroughs in medicine, climate modelling, AI and more. But with that promise comes a paradox. Because while quantum computing could be our greatest leap forward, it could also dismantle the very foundations of security, privacy and trust that our digital world are built on. So here's the question. What happens when we break free from bits and bytes and step into a future that even Einstein himself couldn't fully accept? Classical computers, no matter how powerful, boil everything down to binary. A switch is either on or off, 0 or 1. But quantum computers, they don't play by those rules, and that's thanks to superposition. A single qubit can be both 0 and 1 at the same time. Pair that with entanglement, where two particles can mysteriously be linked across space, and suddenly we have a machine that can explore vast simulation spaces simultaneously. And think about what that means. Simulating complex molecules for drug discovery, engineering materials atom by atom, and cracking optimization problems too vast for any supercomputers we have today. That's not just faster computing, that's a different universe of possibilities altogether. But there is a catch, and it's not new. Even Einstein himself struggled with the quantum world. His theory of relativity describes the universe on a grand scale: space, time, and gravity. Quantum theory, meanwhile, deals with the subatomic, where particles can be in two places at once. Einstein famously dismissed some quantum ideas as spooky action at a distance. He could never fully reconcile the smooth deterministic world of relativity with the probabilistic chaos of quantum mechanics. And here's another paradox. Quantum computing doesn't just sit inside this unresolved tension, it relies on it. We're building machines on principles that the greatest physicists of the 20th century found unsettling, if not impossible, and that dissonance still echoes today. But let's not get lost in the science fiction. What do real quantum computers actually look like today? They're not slick black boxes in your office, they're massive, chandelier-like structures cooled to near absolute zero. Machines like IBM's Osprey and Google's Sycamore are incredible feats of engineering, but they're also very fragile. Decoherence, the tendency for qubits to lose their quantum state, is like trying to balance a soap bubble in a storm. Add to that the need for error correction and cryogenics, and the dream machine becomes an engineering nightmare. Right now, we live in what's called the NISQ era. Noisy, indeterminate scale quantum devices. They're powerful in theory, but limited in practice. And at the heart of the heated debate, have we really reached quantum supremacy yet? Or just clever demonstrations? And here's where things get interesting. Despite the complexity, open source projects like Qiskit and Cirq are giving everybody from students to startups access to quantum programming. And here's another paradox. Openness accelerates progress, democratizes innovation and fuels collaboration. But it also unlocks risks. If quantum algorithms capable of breaking today's encryption become accessible, are we handing the world a skeleton key for every digital lock in existence? Open source becomes both a liberator and a liability, a double-edged sword with no easy answers. If quantum computing can crack encryption, what happens to privacy, to national security? Imagine a quantum divide where only a handful of corporations or nations wield this power. Do we risk creating a future where information itself is monopolized? And who gets to decide the trajectory? Governments pushing for regulation, corporations racing for patents, or the open source community trying to keep things transparent? The stakes aren't just technical, they're societal, ethical, and deeply political. So how do we move forward? Maybe it starts with building responsible open source frameworks, tools and standards that balance accessibility with safeguards. International collaboration is also critical. Just like nuclear treaties, we may need quantum accords. Ethical guidelines should be baked in at an early stage and not as an afterthought. And education is important too. Making sure that this technology isn't a technology of the elites, but one that humanity as a whole can understand and shape. Because the real paradox isn't just about quantum mechanics, it's about us. Will we harness this power for collective progress, or let it deepen the fractures that are already shaping our world? So although even Einstein couldn't bridge the gap between relativity and quantum theory, here we are today, building computers on that very fault line. Thanks for watching the open source ReThink, and if you've enjoyed this little dive into quantum computing, please hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what do you think are going to be humanity's greatest achievements through quantum computing, and what are the deepest risks? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.